Look, if you're like me, your mind is probably spinning right now around ideas on what type of YouTube automation channels you can start, how many niches there are, how much you can get paid. And I know that things might not be very clear, but I'm making this video to make it clear from the beginning, guys, and to help you filter out and cut the fat around the topic. Now, not all YouTube automation channels are great channels to start if your goal is simply to make passive income on YouTube without making any videos yourself. But let me explain why. What we're going to do in this video, guys, we're going to go over different type of videos that I would recommend you stay away from and you would avoid because they simply cannot make money, are not for the long term, or they have various different reasons, basically where the downside is much higher than the upside, so therefore it makes no financial sense. Number one, compilation channels. I'm super passionate about it, so it's gonna be a little bit of a long one. So compilation channels, guys. Now, this is how we all start. Simply taking other clips from the internet, downloading them, and putting them together, basically editing them, is not a good idea in 2022. The reason is pretty simple. That's not original content. Since you didn't have a script, you didn't have a story, you didn't have a voiceover, you'd be highly against those and will not allow them to monetize once they're cool. And when I say once they're cool, I know that you might say that you once heard someone saying that it is possible and you have seen a TikTok. And again, you might actually have had one and it actually worked, but whatever. Literally none of the channels that I've seen, and trust me, I've seen thousands and thousands of channels, guys, and I've owned a few of those, have been able to stay monetized doing compilations over a long enough period of time. And here I'm not talking about like days or weeks or months. I'm talking about years and years to come, because that's the goal, right? Like we want cash flow coming in for years to go. Now, I tried doing this for myself, guys, at the beginning of my journey, and I documented the whole process on YouTube. So if you want to check that out, there'll be a link in the description of this module, basically. It's my most popular video on YouTube. Over 80,000 people have appreciated that and have seen it. So I would highly, highly recommend before you say like, oh, Raz, I want to start a channel like this. Now, let me give you guys a few examples, basically. Let's have a clear path on what we're talking about. Number one, we're going to have this channel called Free Investing, right? So let me open up very, very quickly. So you can also see exactly how does it look like, right? Subscribe to achieve financial freedom, almost 600,000 subscribers. And I'm sure you have probably seen those videos if you are anywhere interested in crypto or finances and whatnot, right? They post videos about certain people in the financial sector, in the financial industry, like Robert Kiyosaki, I know, Dave Ramsey and whatnot, all the other guys. But I'll show you exactly what's the problem with this, guys. And I'm actually own a very, very similar to this. So channel like this were a big boom at the beginning of 2022 when people started taking speaker interviews, right? So you take a Dave Ramsey, I know, Robert Kiyosaki, whatever, Warren Buffett interview, and use them as voiceover with their own stock footage compilation, right? So you take an interview, you download it, and you put some clips on it. You put some free footage that you downloaded on it, and then you post it on YouTube, right? Again, no script, no voice, just taking somebody else's work and trying to monetize it. Not good. The example above is a business channel, but the same practice is coming in the crypto niche as well as others. Again, watch the video on my YouTube channel if you want to see how exactly a crypto channel of mine had the same faith. On the same page, you might have also seen the classic motivational channels like Tony Robbins, Kiyosaki, G Motivation, Car Motivation. Listen, there's nothing wrong with those channels if you want to watch them. I actually watch them myself when I have a long drive, or when I'm at the gym, or when I want to be pumped, or anything like that. But basically, again, let's deconstruct it for a second. What they're somebody recording motivational speech, most likely a famous guy, that you have simply downloaded. You do not have any rights, you don't have any approval. Not that that would be the problem, but you simply don't even have that. And then you just take stock footage that you find on the internet. You go on Google, how to download stock footage, bam, bam, bam. You put them together, upload it to YouTube, and want it to work. It's not. Now, B, quotes channels, right? To take it one step further, guys, let's look at these quote channels that we have right here. Actually, cool quotes. And it's funny enough, I think they have the same amount of subscribers, if I'm not wrong, as the other channel. So almost 600,000. And then this one, guys, if you can see, they've basically leveraged even older people or people that might not even be alive right now to make the videos. So let's deconstruct. Right, so as I said, this one is taking one step forward, just replacing basically speaker voices with old quotes, combined with stock footage, and it seemed a great idea at first until it wasn't anymore. No original script, but this time having a voice, right? Because instead of taking a speaker's voice, like I don't know, Tony Robbins on a stage, this time we just look in books and in archives when we find like Winston Churchill quotes, and then we hire a voiceover actor to just read those quotes as if it was like, I don't know, a piece of paper. Again, for the same reason, since there is no added value, everybody can do that. Everybody can do the same thing. There's the same information, it's the same quotes. Those channels will not be monetized. And we even had a channel in the community, basically, one of our students who started one exactly when they appeared, because again, if the compilation channels are cutting corners, this is like one step closer to what YouTube allows, because now we have an original voice, but we still miss the script. So when they appeared, one of the people in our community basically was like, hey, I'm gonna give this a shot. It's a little bit risky, but let's see how it goes. And I was like, okay, if you want to do it, let's just try. Now, within 3 months of posting consistently, it might have been like 3.5 months, his channel started generating basically 10, 20, $25,000 views per day. Now, unfortunately, exactly at the peak of his channel, basically he lost monetization. YouTube said, hey, sorry, you are not allowed to monetize this content. This is reused, it's not original, and then everything basically went to zero. He hasn't been able to monetize it. So again, highly against cutting corners. C, great motivation, guys. As we had a ton of people basically speak about motivation channels and had questions, we'll make a special category for them, although they don't work because of the same reason of the above, right? Think about it. Somebody else's sounds, right? You have meditation sounds, relaxing sounds, whatever, with somebody else's footage, like a mountain, a beach, something like that, put together. Where's the added value? If you tell your mom, if I tell my dad, if I tell my grandma, hey, do this, do this, do this. Everybody can produce those videos over and over and over again, and YouTube doesn't like that. Therefore, won't put money on them. And D, there we have Fail Army Nation, guys. You've probably seen this channel. I remember watching videos like this. You can see it has 16,000 subscribers. I remember watching fails and funny compilations and whatnot when I was a young kid. Then I stopped and it kind of disappeared, but then I got to them again when I started YouTube automation. So let's talk about them. Funny fails. I bet 99% of people out there basically watching this right now have seen at least one of videos with funny fails or some sort of random compilation, right? They're probably the most popular one because I'm pretty sure that this is how they started. Like, this is how YouTube automation even started. And they might have worked back in 2012, 2013, 2014, 2015. They're so easy to make, guys. They require no effort. Just take random clips off of the internet, social media, and edit them together, post them on YouTube, and that's that. Now, also, you might get a lot of views over time because who doesn't want to watch something funny and relaxing for them? But it will definitely not make money in the YouTube Partner Program. That's just section 1, guys, compilation channels. Let's go into section 2 of channels to avoid. Number 2, AI channels or artificial intelligence based channels. You might say, Ross, I've never heard about it. Take a step back, right? So what I mean by this, guys, is mostly channels that use softwares for creation of the videos. So as I said, usually we need a scriptwriter, a voiceover, an editor, and a thumbnail designer. And some of those could be replaced by robots, basically by AI. And I'm not saying like using softwares like an editing software where somebody edits or using a voice to record as I'm doing right now, but actually like entirely replacing it. Now, I've tried having a channel run solely by AI and it flopped big time. But before that, here's a response received in the Google community basically section when this question was asked, right? So basically, Go Product Expert, Long, DJ Han, whatever, said this, like, text-to-speech is really quite unpleasant to listen to, is sometimes inaccurate, and is commonly used to spammy channels. I'm not saying your channel is spammy, but number 1, you don't want to take on the habits of spam channels if you're looking for monetization. And 2, you can care more about a viewer experience in terms of audio. The solution is to work with a narrator. Quite a few channels do this. So I'd like to zoom on this, guys, and I'd like you to basically consider this. They're saying this. I'm not sure you're saying spammy, but 1, you don't want to take the habits of spammy channels if you are looking for monetization, meaning they're hinting at the fact that those channels will not be in the partner program and therefore will not be approved. Small mention here again, guys, there are some channels out there who use this and seem to be completely fine, but so there are compilation channels, meditation channels. I don't know how they do it or if they're actually doing it successful, but I haven't ever met a person basically on to do this. And the tier on top, most of them are also meditation or compilation channels like we mentioned before. So not only that they cut the corner of just taking somebody else's footage, but they're also lazy enough to just use a robotic voice, not even a real voice to do it. So you can see what kind of combination that is. Now, talking about a channel that I used to run, it's called Products Unlimited. So let's open up right here, guys. Again, full transparency. I've kept those case studies. I've kept all my fails as case studies because I knew someday somebody's gonna have a question about it. So I'm gonna say, hey, here's the proof. It doesn't work. Let me save you the money and time and energy. Now let's look a little bit how the channel was basically run. Number 1, for the script, I was using a tool called Jasper to automatically generate the scripts for me, and I was having my VA run the commands. So it basically took like 15 to 20 minutes, and it was a tool where you're saying like, hey, write me a paragraph about this, about this, about this, about this, and you just type something on your keyboard, and it automatically generates. It's a pretty good software, but not for YouTube monetization. Then, for the voiceover, I used a website called Wellsaid Labs to generate the voiceover after trying on all the other ones in the market. So I went for the most expensive, the most prestigious, the best software in the market because it seemed the most authentic. and again, therefore also most expensive. Now, we simply had to upload the script, so just a PDF file or a Google Doc file, and then download the narrations as they were automatically generated. You upload the script, you press narrate or you press play, you get a robotic voice, you download, and that's it. Very, very easy. You can see a lot of cutting corners, a lot of easiness in this process. Now, for the video editor, I hired a basic editor to compile the stock footage with their respective products and screenshots and put them together, right? Since we were doing 5 to 10 videos per day, I got the cost down to $10 per video. But again, here, I was using a real person because it was very hard to find like specific footage for exactly what I wanted with the software, but my cost again was super high. Thumbnail design. If you look at the channel, you can see that all the thumbnails follow closely the same template and very things differ. So I had my thumbnail designer, which I already had on payroll. So I was paying a monthly fixed cost to do those, since it was taking like him 1 or 2 minutes per thumbnail. Now guys, here's the interesting part. My cost was very cheap, since I was just paying like $10 in like hard cash, hard money for my video editor per video, and a few hours of my virtual assistant, which again was already on payroll. So that time I was already kind of paying for. So basically I went ahead and I uploaded a few hundred of the videos in the span of 3 months. After which we gained the requirements. So we had, again, we had a lot of subscribers already. We had the 4,000 watch hours. We applied to enter the YouTube Partner Program, and we applied to basically start making money with YouTube. Guess what? Rejected. Reused content. Now guys, when it comes to reused content, one other thing to keep in mind is that in the eventuality that you ever get demonetized, which I hope will never happen to any of you, is that YouTube will not be very open about the reason why you lost monetization, right? They'll never talk openly about it, like, oh, you did so-and-so, therefore it is valid, this and that. Most likely, most times, they just say reused content is the reason and they walk away, right? Anyway, we appealed immediately and we got rejected again, but after 30 days when you can reapply, we also got denied. Then I stopped trying. Also, what's funny, guys, is that when I mentioned my cost per video was $10, first imagine that I was posting in 5 to 10 videos a day. So I was spending like at least $1,500 to $3,000 per day. But let's say if I would even post 1 video a day for $10, that would be $300. Now, if I'm bootstrapped and if I want to spend as little money as possible, if I would have to pay $300 for the content creation, then I also have to pay for the Wellsell Labs, which is the voiceover software. That was like $200 to $300 a month. So let's say $250. I'm already at $550 for the content creation. If I have to pay Jasper, which was like $150 for the the most expensive plan, I'm already at $700. With $700, guys, you can go out there and can have a real team, a real production, and produce basically high quality videos without cutting any corners. Now, also, I have to mention here that, as I said in the beginning, AdSense and Google AdSense and being in the YouTube Partner Program is not the only way in which you can make money with YouTube, but it's so hard to make money without it, where it's so different. It's such a, it's a mess. It's at that point, it's not automated. It's not passive. It's a real business. So we'll keep only to this. We'll only keep about this basically. But this channel, guys, I want to mention that also had the potential, and we're still making money to this day in making money from Amazon affiliates, right? So we were promoting the products in the video, sending people to Amazon, but that was simply not enough to cover the cost of production, therefore continue with the channel if YouTube said no. To sum it up, guys, for this one, I'm heavily against AI-based channels, right? I don't like using any softwares that replace the human being, but also use them to help make the process easier and to make it more enjoyable and to make the content production better, right? Again, you'll see throughout the course that myself, I've cut every corner possible, and that's why I'm highly against it now, because I don't want you, any of guys, to make the mistakes that I've already made myself. There's no point. So, number 3, saturated channels, not to call them expired channels. Now, this is more of a delicate type of channels to avoid, but I'm going to break it down for you guys. Basically, there are big successful channels that usually have a monopoly in their niche because there are no new players entering the same space, therefore creating competition. Let's look at a few ones. I have some of them right here. Some of them are Psych2Go, 1% Better, Improvement Peel, and Practical Psychology Tips. Most of them, if you can see, there are around like psychology, self-development, self-improvement type stuff. As you can see on my screen right now. And again, it doesn't have to be. They can be also in other niches, but those are pretty much the most popular ones that you will find out there. Now, as you can see, basically, they post all sorts of different topics in all sorts of different formats. And we'll go into particularities of them in a second, but I just wanted to show you how exactly they look like. So, there are multiple channels like this, and I'm afraid I do not know them all, but usually channels based on concepts like self-development, psychology, or self-reflection tend to not work anymore in 2022. In this case, the reason isn't the YouTube guidelines, right? As they tend to have great production quality, being animated or custom-made sketches, but rather people interest in topics has slightly decreased, therefore not making those channels profitable anymore. One easy way to spot those is by looking at the competition, guys. If there are not a lot of more channels, say under 50,000 subscribers, it might not be a good niche to pursue, right? Now, keep in mind that personal channels do not count because there are a ton of self-development gurus out there. Having no small competitors, meaning there are no new people interested in starting a sub-channel like that, which means the opportunity most likely isn't as good as you thought. Granted, there are some niches that are worth pursuing with no competitors. We call those untapped, like we had golfing or Formula One, which we were the first people, the first people to start our channels was in our community, but we can talk about more of those untapped niches in the next chapter. Here, I just wanted to bring in front of you guys, like again, pay attention to the competition, pay attention to the big channels, and make sure there are also small fishes to make sure that this is not a saturated, expired niche that you don't want to be into. And there we go for 4, last but not least, high production channels or advanced channels, right? Not beginner-friendly channels or any names you can find for them. Just as we discussed about expired channels having a high quality production, that can also be a red flag, especially for beginners trying to make money on a budget, which was my case when I started my first channel as well. Here, we speak about channels like Hook, The Company Man, history documentaries, and whatnot, and I have prepared basically a few for them in various different niches, so let me open up as we speak. Now guys, as you can see right here, Hook is probably one of my favorite channels, if not The Company Man. But they basically talk about the history of how companies were founded. They have a great quality production. And here we have Jake Tran talking about money, politics, and exposing those type of things, weird history, creating crazy history documentaries that are very long and very, very well edited, almost like Netflix quality. Polymatter and in a nutshell, where even their motto is like quality over quantity. But this time, guys, quality, it's like in real sense of word, is in hundreds of dollars, if not thousands of dollars to produce one single video. So as you can see, they cover very interesting topics and most mass appealing subjects, which combined with their high production quality makes them successful, right? I'm a big fan of those channels and I even watch them in my spare time, but there's one big problem if you're a beginner trying to start a channel like this. A video like that, as I mentioned before, can cost anywhere from a few $100s to a few $1,000s. Not really the budget that we want to be on when starting this business. I would not really recommend starting a channel like that unless you have funds and prior experience in the media business or you really want to go big from the go. These channels have usually been around for a very, very long time, so they've had years and years to build up their following on YouTube. It's going to be difficult to compete with them purely on the basis of their well-being and being so established. It's like being a tech startup and comparing yourself to Apple or Microsoft. Sure, you can make some moves, but you're not at the level, so you don't try to be. Now, sure, you can make some move, you can make some money, you can get something, but you're not at the level yet, so don't try to beat them at their own game. That's pretty much what I'm saying. Now guys, I would highly encourage you going over this video again because I know we covered a lot of new information. Again, we had 4 categories of channel that we're not go into, and I would really want you to understand those. So every time you see a new channel, you can use those 4 pillars or those as filters to see, okay, hey, is the channel that I want to avoid or is this the channel that I want to start? And now if you might say, Raz, this is my idea when I started the whole thing, and now you've just removed it, you've caught it. Don't worry. I admit we've cut a lot of options basically from the list menu, but now we've only have the good of the good, the best of the best, and there are plenty of options, guys. There are so many niches that me and you don't even know of right now that are waiting to be discovered, that are currently untapped, that can deploy hefty amounts of money. So let's get it.